All right. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, can you all maybe put on your video so that I can see all of you all? Is it okay? Can I just on your video for a while? Otherwise, I don't know whether who am I speaking to. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, just on for a while. After that, then I'll leave it to you. But I'll prefer that you're on it so that I know that at least I'm talking to somebody lah. Yeah. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here today. It's Thursday afternoon. It's coming to the weekend. Yeah. So how are you feeling today? Good? All good? Are you ready for a good 2-hour session? Yeah. So we have in the house 48 people. So the rest of you are not really on your video. No worries. Okay. First of all, I just want to chat with you. My name is Ha Chi Kian. Together with me is Angel. Angel will be the co-host here, helping me to manage the room here today. She's also one of the trainer in one of the another program called on customer service side, service recovery, right, and customer service. So you can just see them if you're coming back for a fourth session. You will see her. But anyway, today this is the first session for under IMU Essential Skills. Thank you, first of all. Thank you to IMU for giving us this opportunity to be here. Thank you, Doreen, for setting this up. Thank you so much for this. And Doreen is the one that has been organizing everything here together with Najwa, right? Yeah. Yep. So the next 2 hours you're going to be here. So how many of you here would like to be a better problem solver? Anyone? This topic is complex problem solving, right? Yeah. And how many of you would like to be able to solve complex issues, complex problems? Yeah. How many of you are facing so much of these challenges? Sometimes you just want to pull your hair off, just like me, no more hair. Yeah. That's good, right? Right. So for this, I think I will first and foremost I want to thank all of you for being here, and because of this I will do whatever I can today to in the next 2 hours to give you all that I know within these 2 hours as much as I can. It's going to be jam-packed so that the information for you all to be able to handle some complex issues, and most importantly for me is to be able to be brave enough to have the courage to take on bigger issues. Would that be good for you? Yeah, good, huh? Right? So I hope all of you are here, right? Just for me to know that you're here. For those who are all black screen here, don't even have a virtual background. Maybe you can put it in the chat group there. Just say just put a hi there, and then at least I know you're here. So I'll start off first. Hi everyone. Okay, thank you. So at least I know you guys are there, not just a shadow behind there. All right, as I begin, so would it be okay if I were to share a bit about me before I start? Would you be interested to know? Would it be good? Yeah. Thank you. Just a quick one. So the program for today. Oh yeah. Before that, just to be sure, a few things I want you to know. So I'm quite sure you are quite familiar with Zoom, right? So for this program, for mine, I want you to pin to my video, this video here, because I'll be switching from here in my. Can you see my slides? Yeah, see mine, because I won't be sharing any slides. It's everything from here, so that I can work behind the screen. I can actually write something here, so that I can actually interact with you as well. Clear? Yeah. So throughout the whole program here, the workshop here, let's have some interaction. Otherwise, talking alone is very, very funny. So if you can just answer me, even unmute yourself if you have to, I think in a controlled manner should be fine. Yeah. But at all times, keep it mute. When you need to, just unmute and just say your name, and then you have questions to ask. From time to time, I will be having a session that just to have an interaction, so that I know whether you're still with me. Are you catching up? Are you understanding it correctly? Are you getting me correctly and everything? All right. Yeah. So also maybe you can also type in the chat if you when I ask you all something, you can just respond back so that I know they are still with me, and I know that you are following me accordingly. All right. So pin to my video, my screen. Okay. Pin to my screen will be best. So now let me share a bit about me. All right. So So this is me. My name is Ha. Just can you call me Ha? Ha Chicken is my name. Just call me Ha will do. So for the past 9 years, I've been in training. This is my own business, my own career here right now, helping companies to build high-performance leaders and teams in the company. So professionally, I'm basically a corporate trainer and a coach as well, and specializing in leadership training and development and team as well. Right? So prior to my 9 years in training, 16 years even before that, I was in the manufacturing industries. I'm an engineer, mechanical engineer by degree. And for the past 16 years, right, I think one of the things I've been doing throughout the whole 16 years to help companies to save millions of dollars every year. That's where my value comes in. That's where how I want to provide my value to the company. On average, I think I've been saving at least $1 million a year throughout the whole 16 years. One of my biggest win in my last company when I was operation manager for the elevator company. It's a Dautos elevator company from Italy, and we actually from a startup of few hundred, 200,000 to actually 6 million in turnover within 4 years. I was the operation manager managing the whole company from everything, basically the number 2 man after the owner himself, right? So these are some of the qualifications that I have, yeah, and some of the companies that I've been able to serve all this while. These are the companies, yeah. For for the past 9 years now, over 5,000 corporate managers and executives, helping them to be high performance leaders and team in the company. Yeah. So apart from this is just my professional side. Would you be interested to know my personal side a bit? Would it be good? Can I share? Yeah, so that you get to know me a bit more. And this is something that I'm proud to share a lot. I talk a lot about this because I think I'm pretty obsessed. You can talk to Angel here, my co-host here. I think I'm pretty obsessed right now after doing this for my 5th year. So this is Spartan. This is the exact picture that I saw when I first started off in Spartan. How many of you know what is Spartan? Spartan race. Are you familiar? Maybe not. Okay, if you're not, this is me, right? In 2018. Spartan race is the obstacle course racing. This is what I do. Climb ropes, obstacle course, you know, the military style obstacle course. And this is pretty hardcore, I would say. So it's rope climbing on slippery walls, carrying sandbags, dunking into muddy waters, okay, barbed wire crawl, real barbed wires. This is not just raffia strings, please, it's barbed wires, real stuff. And then walls, 4 feet wall, 5 feet wall, 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet wall. We climb over that. So these are all the challenges. Bucket carries, carrying sand and carrying rocks, climbing over walls and everything. Yeah, jumping over fires at the end. Yeah, this is what I do. I love to do these things personally because I'm physically challenged in a way. I like to be challenged. Back in school, when I was just like you guys back in universities and things like this, I'm a sportsman. I love all these things. However, as much as I pride myself then, right, after I start coming out from my universities and coming to work, right, then slowly, gradually over the next 25 years, I find that my physical ability has slowly declined, right? And it comes to a point that I find that I'm no longer fit anymore, and I'm kind of a bit frustrated and a bit ashamed of where I am today on that time. So when I reached 40, that was about 8 years ago, when I touched 40, that becomes a big realization. Because I realized that, hey, I'm already 40 years old then, and I was like, I'm in such a not very good shape. Maybe the shape is okay, but internally it's not very good. And I know that. Then at age 41, my son came along. My son was born. And that's when I realized that, oh my goodness, I started counting. By the time he's 20 years old, when I'm 61, I'm already 61. I better be fit enough, strong enough to still see him all the way through as long as I want. So that becomes a big realization for me to do something about myself, because for the past 25 years before that, I've been telling myself, you need to get fit, you need to go back to do some workout, get back fit and things like that. It has never really happened. How many of you realize what I'm talking about? No, we talk about going to the gym, supposed to go for a run and everything, and I've been talking for the past 25 years since then, is it? So I was like, that's bad. So finally, because of my son, it only started to happen when he was turning 3. He was able to run, and that's when I realized, when I took him to the playground, I was not able to run. Maybe I can run faster than him but I know that when he picks up to be 5 years old, 6 years old, and he's able to start running, right? And he kept asking me to play tag with him. I was like, oh my goodness, I can see myself, if I don't do something right now, I'm going to be a terrible papa, right? So that I start doing the training. So even though I wanted to do that, but what actually inspired me is this Spartan race. I was introduced to Spartan race in 2017 when I started taking the first part. So the first picture that you see earlier on, that was the actual picture that we actually see these athletes. You saw their body, right? Cool, right? I was like, oh my goodness, this type of body is what I really want. And I was thinking that if I want to be like them, have this kind of body, that means I need to be as strong as them. And this becomes the biggest realization for me, that I need to get strong back again. And that was the first challenge I go. But when during my first race, let me go back. During my first race, I remember I was suffering over there. And I was cheating my way through. I never get through all the obstacles. I was cheating through. If I don't cheat, I won't be able to get up, to be very honest. But that actually inspired me that despite all the toughness, right, I want to get through this. So why am I sharing with you with this? Because while this is a personal journey, I also realized one thing. As a leader, because I'm a leadership trainer, right? As a leader, we need to be able to overcome challenges and obstacles. Would you agree? Yeah. How many of you want to be a better leader? You want to be a better leader? All of you want, right? If you want to be a leader, right, do you face challenges most of the time? You should, right? If you are not facing challenges as a leader, right, either you're so dashat leader, you're so dashat, or you are not doing your part well. You know what I'm saying? But if you really want to be the inspiring leader and really want to create results and everything, right, surely you're going to face a lot of challenges because you're pushing the boundaries, right? Good leaders will always push the boundaries. And all these challenges, sometimes you all feel like, oh my goodness, what am I doing this for? So this Spartan race throughout the last 2017, 2018 and 19, 3 years. 2020 last year, there's no race, but the last 3 years I did about 9 races. Every races reminds me of me pushing the boundaries for my own self. If I cannot even do it for my own, if I give up halfway, right, that means how am I going to handle other people? You know what I'm saying? How am I going to handle bigger problems? Because it's going to be similar issues, and that gives me a little realization and affirmation, right? That I need to remind myself. So I do this 3 times a year to remind myself, to keep me strong. Of course, another one I like the most is that to build my own confidence. So as I get stronger and stronger, my confidence get bigger and bigger. And these are my medals, so-called participant medals. Okay, mine is open category, not even competition. Okay, I haven't reached that, but it's participation medals. In 2017, 2018, I repeat again 3 main races. 2019, I will do it again. 2020, I planned to do 2 times, supposed to be 6 races, but it was cancelled. So now, 2021, I was looking forward for it. So I'm sharing with you this, hopefully, first because I'm proud to share this because of where I am today. I think today I'm way much stronger at 48 right now, this year, than I was in school. I'm proud to say this. 2 years ago, I wasn't really sure yet. Maybe I haven't catch up, but now I'm definitely have caught up, even in terms of flexibility and everything. So I'm pretty happy about that. And I hope that this way I can actually inspire you all to move your butt, to get out and do something as well. Challenge yourself consistently, because the journey of physical challenge of getting your workouts to your physical goal, right? Either your physical body or whatever you're doing, getting the body that you want, the whatever things you want, right? It's a very similar feeling and challenges that you have when you are challenging yourself in either in your career or handling as a problems. Even in relationships, it's very similar. So I think we can control ourselves first, right? Our own body we can control, right? Other things outside a bit difficult. If our own body we cannot control, then how are we going to do other things? That's how I was telling myself, right? So with that, I just want to share with you my little journey here right now, which I like to. Yeah, I hope that gives you a little bit of getting you to know me a bit more, so that for today you know who you are talking to. Yeah. All right, thank you very much for that. So with this, so are you all pinned to me right now? Yes, I hope so. Okay, now are you ready to start?
Yes.
Are you ready? All ready? Okay, you're ready. Let's rock and roll. So this is complex problem solving, right? So if you're ready to start, put a chat there. Put there ready, or just put a 1. Just put a 1, so I know that you're ready. Put in chat box. Just put 1 already. It doesn't matter. Right. Thank you so much. Oh, got A as well. All right. Okay, let's get started. So the topic today is complex problem solving. This is essential skill number 1 from here. We have other 5 topics going along, so we're going to start with this program. So what is this complex problem solving? There's so many kinds of problems, right? In fact, there's only 2 types, and I'm going to share with you from here. Hopefully give you a better idea how we're going to go with this. But as we get started, why are we here? First, very important, why are you here? There must be a good reason for you to be here, right? Isn't it? I'm quite sure there is. So for this, going to start breaking the ice. I want you all to answer these 2 questions. Okay, 2 questions. The topic is complex problem solving, and the question number 1 is this: there must be a perfectly good reason for you to be here today. Yes. Number 1, what do you hope to achieve from this program in these 2 hours? Okay, what do you hope to achieve? And number 2, suppose what you hope for becomes true. How will that make a difference for you in your work, or even your studies and life, right? So maybe you can just type into the chat box. Just type in the chat box and let me know. Answer these 2 questions. What do you hope to achieve from this program? And suppose that becomes true. How will that make a difference for you in your work or your studies or your future work, right? And your life. So just type it there. I'm very interested to know your second answer. Come on, everybody, please type in so that I know what are you all in the right rooms or not. Why are you here? Okay, hope how to learn to deal with complex situation, all right? And hopefully with these skills, I can make better life decisions for my future, to make better decisions, learn how to overcome obstacles, learn the mindset needed to solve complex problems, okay? Use shorter amount of time to solve a problem, okay, that's very important, right? Okay, what else? In the research field, we are always exposed to impromptu problems, okay, and by being able to solve problems very effectively, I will be able to be a better researcher, okay? Right? So all of you can actually look at the message, the chat messages, and see your other fellow course mates, right? Or your university mates. What are their reason for being here? Fatima Abadi said to become a better leader and be less afraid of facing difficult situations. Okay, that's very important. Thank you for that. I always feel that there's a lot of things on my plate and I'm trying to balance things out. Would be great if I can learn how to choose and focus on my priorities. Right. Learn new strategies when it comes to tackling issues. It will give me more confidence in becoming a good leader. It will give me more positive outlook instead of seeing a problem as negative. Alright, good. Okay, thank you everybody for your feedback. You can continue putting in, but I will continue from our training right now. Alright. Okay, thank you again. So now, I will start off with a simple little exercise. Some of you may know this already. If you know this, maybe you just give other people a chance to answer this. Yeah. So it's a camel problem. So this is the questions. Yeah. Please read these things and then let me know what would be the solution for this, just to kickstart the whole thing.
The father select complete camel and effort to give the father population possible.
Okay, basically very simple. Father left a will for 3 sons. He has 17 camels, and the will states that the eldest son will get half of it, half of the 17 camels. The second one will get 1/3, and the last one, the youngest one, get only 1/9 of it. Yeah, and one of the condition, of course, is that not to kill any of the camels. They're supposed to be whole. How do they divide this equally without killing each other? Of course, because they cannot divide, they start to have an argument. So how are we going to solve this problem? Any idea? I give you 1 minute to think about this. Oh, mate the camels. Walao. They cannot wait anymore. How I go use it. Good choice. Okay, what I can encourage you to do is maybe you can unmute your things so they can have a little interaction. No selling of camels, okay? No selling, no dividing. You know, during the long time ago, camels is considered assets, okay? Whichever family has the most camels are the wealthy people. So, not their father say not written here, but father say no selling of camels. They're supposed to divide it equally and then so they can live harmony. But of course, the sons here are already arguing, right? Anyone know the answer to this? Those who know, maybe you can actually share your knowledge. Shriya, is it? Well, divide using 18 camels. 18 camels, there's only 17 camels, right? How are we going to divide this? Add 1 camel and divide. Where do you get the 1 camel from? Okay. Three brothers buy 1 camel together and make a total 18, then divide accordingly with their father's will. After you divide, you get extra 1 camel or not? Okay, so I think some of you know the answers, right? I think Fatima knows, I believe Ashley knows, Shia also knows. Okay, can I review the answer to everybody? May I? Or someone maybe can take the honor to actually tell everybody the answer. Anyone? Oh. Okay, very simple. So what happens, this story goes this way. They are fighting, so they have no choice, and then they say, okay, before we kill each other, let's find ourselves a senior wise man, and who is happened to be some top guru and things like that. He went up to them and said, hey, please help us before we kill each other, and we have this issue, and this is father's will, so can you please help us? So the wise old man came over and said, no problem, I will solve this issue. Give me a second, let me go home first. So he went home, and then in about half an hour later, he came in, he brought his own camel along, he put it in to make it 18 camels, and then he divide. 18 divided by 2, how many? 6,
9.
right? 18, 9. Then 18 divided by 3, how many? 6, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then 18 divided by 2, how many? 2. So after he divided, everybody get 9, 6, and 2. And then, okay, now you get your share, and he took back his own camel away. Ta-da! You get it? Anyway, okay, this is just for brainstorming, right? It's not really important, but most important is this. There is always a way to solve a problem. Would you agree? Okay, there's always a way. In this case, you find the 18 camel, so they can divide equally, and once you divide it, you're going to get 17. You get my point? You don't get this? For example, 17 camels, right? Can you look at me? Here, 17 camels. You plus 1, you get 18, right? Okay, so 18 divided by 2, 18 divided by how many?
3.
3. 18 divided by 9, right? So you get 9, 6, 2.
2.
Total how many? Okay? Still 17. And the wise old man took back his own camel. So basically, mathematically, it's quite simple, right? If you divide mathematically, then you round upwards, then you get the same thing. But sometimes in a very complex situation, is it so simple? Sometimes not so simple, right? People argue, hey, how come this way, how come that way, how can I get half and things like that? People will start to complicate things. But I just want to start off with this little simple quiz so that we want to get you on the perspective, because in situation like this, if it's so simple and people can just abide by the rules, it's easy, right? But in actual fact, does it really happen? Not so simple, right? So what are some of the potential possibility of this thing happening? Just say when you have this situation like this, right? What could be some of the problems that can happen? Some will say, why is it? How come the elders get half of it? How come the youngest only get 1/9 only? It's not fair, right? And start to argue also, right? Does it happen in real life? It happens, right? And then how they divide and who they divide, they always have issues. So when it comes to complex problems, right? The problem is very simple, but who creates this complexity in the problems? Who creates this? Usually humans, right? We add on things, right? We add on flavor to it. And this is where the whole program is about. I just want to share with you is that we need to think about situation, because a lot of problems that we know of is pretty simple, but it's not easy to solve. Isn't it true? Yeah, isn't it true? Yeah, if you agree with this, put in the chat there, yes, put a yes there, so that I know that you all agree with this or not. Yeah. If you don't agree, put no, so that I know. So a lot of things are pretty easy to solve, but you know that it's not easy to solve, right? Because there's something else in the play, and we have to consider this, consider that, and it makes it very difficult. But actually, it's a very simple thing. Isn't it true? Okay, thank you so much. So if you look at this, right? Come back to this, two types of problems. You have complicated problems and complex, right? So what's the difference? What's the difference here? Who can tell me? What's the difference between complicated problems and complex? Is there a difference? Hello? Yeah, you're okay, right? Is there a difference? Yeah. So maybe you can put in the chat quickly. What do you think is the difference? Without typing too long also. Very simple. I can put this way, okay? I will give you an example. Do you know these Rubik cubes? How many of you here can solve this Rubik cubes problem? Okay, who can do this? Some can, right? So now, some cannot, right? So like very challenging, right? Okay, now let me ask you. Do you think this problem of solving these Rubik cubes, right, which is so well known, right? Is it a complex problems or complicated?
Complex.
This is complex, all right? How about the rest? They say it's complex. Anybody say complicated? Some say complex. Anybody say complicated? Some say complicated. So what's the difference here? Oh, a lot of people think it's complex, huh? Okay. Complex is hard by nature, but complicated is made to be that way by people. Okay, let me tell you this, okay? I'll put it very simply. This Rubik Cube issues, right, is an issue that if you know the formula, can you do it? If I teach you step by step how to do this correctly and things like that, if you work hard on it, if you know exactly what needs to be done, can you do this?
Yes.
Everybody can, right? Without a doubt, right? Every one of us can. The question now is that whether, of course, you're smart enough or not to understand as well. But if I teach you step by step, right, sure can do. That means it's a matter of how hard this issue is, how difficult this issue is or problem is. But if this problem is very difficult and it requires you to have certain knowledge and skills and hard work and time to do this, right? And it's just only this, and you can just actually do it. This is actually basically called complicated issues. It means things that are complicated. It just needs your understanding of how to do this. You should know the steps, you can do it. For example, you're in medical schools, right? Anyone here that are doctors or maybe chiropractors, all these things that you learn, do you consider that as complicated or complex?
Complex.
In order for you to do a surgery, right? Of course, it's complex in a way, but mainly in a way it's complicated, right? That means you need to know, right? Not everybody can do it unless you study it. Isn't it true? You have to study. But once you study, you know already, right? That means you can actually do it. Most of the time, you can actually know because there's a step-by-step procedure, right? Isn't it true? Yeah. For example, even in engineering, where I come from, if I study engineering, how to build a car, if I follow the certain foundation of building a car, designing accordingly with 4 wheels and not just only 1 wheel, I can get the car, right? So it's a matter of learning it. So this type of learning, right, depending on how hard the subject matter is, I will call this complicated matters. Okay, complex is when things are like, no matter how you try to understand it, so you can never understand in full effect what is actually the real situation is, because there's so many interactions in between. So for example, complex would be something like this, right? It's like there's so many intertwined, everything is involved, there's other people are involved, procedures are involved, maybe this is involved, there's so many parties or interaction between parts. It makes it very complex, because in order to understand one issue, right, you need to understand other things as well. So of course, in medical things, there's always, in any situation in the world, there's always two things in combination, but there's always two things, complex and complicated. Have you ever seen some issues that is so simple, right, but people just cannot solve? Because it's so complex, you involve other people, you involve government, you involve this body, and people have to approve things like that. It's not so easy to solve. That's, I would say, complex. You can never even understand it. But this complicated issue is where that once you understand it, right, you can actually solve it. If the things are not make it more complex by a lot of interaction, right, you can actually solve it. So for example, if I want to solve a certain problem on my own, right, if I can do it on my own, just say if it's a phone issues, just say this phone, and if I want to understand if the software issues, I can decode the software, or I can change the software, I can download certain things, I can solve it, because it's just me and the phone only. But however, in order for me to solve a certain issue here, I need to go over to the DG counter and then need them to get it done, because they are the only one can do it. Even though if I want to do it, I cannot, because I don't have the authority to do it. I need to get someone else to do it, and that the person also requires somebody to authorize, or I need the government approval, blah blah. That becomes very complex. Does it make sense? Yeah. So in the world today, do you think most of the problems that we face in the world today are complex in nature or complicated in nature? What do you think? Maybe you can type. If you're not going to answer, you can type. What do you think? Do you think it's mainly complex in nature or complicated in nature? All the issues that we face. Remember, I said complicated means, right? If you know how to do it, you can just do it. It takes time, you can get it done. Complex is where that sometimes, no matter how you try to solve it, it's very difficult to solve. So people think it's complicated in nature, right? Yeah. Some say complex. Yeah. It's a combination of both. But if I give you a percentage, right, which one do you think it is? Is it more complex? Majority of it are complex, or majority are complicated? Someone raise their hands. Chok Li Ling. Yeah. You want to say something? If you want to say something, you can unmute. Yeah. So I can see that
I see that.
Okay. So I can see that a lot of people have two different things. So again, so what I can answer is this: there's two ways of looking at things depending on where you're coming from. If you are more technical in nature in the way you are learning things, like for example, your medical schools, right? Things you are learning are very, very technical, right? You learn how to do certain things, right? It's more of a science than arts, right? And this is where, if you are going out to the world and you are doing all these things, and you are just basically a designer, or you are the surgical medical officer, things like that, it can be complicated matters, right? But most of the time, if you are going out in the organization perspective, right, in the organization way, right, when you have to interact with a lot of people, your majority are quite complex. Yeah, I will try to explain this a bit later on as I go along. Okay. Let me put this up. All right. So now let's look at the psychology of problem solving first. Okay, there's complex and things where these things will fall inside. First of all, you need to understand that. Do you believe that in the world today there's always problems to solve? Yeah. If there's no problems in the world, how will the world be, or how will our life be? Would it be fun? Too nice is very difficult, right? Yeah. So, but there's always problems because of the nature of these things are always happening and things like that. right? So let's look at the psychology of problem solving. So let's remember this. How many of you here have been heartbroken at least one time in your life? Yes? Have you experienced heartbreak before? Some of you? Yeah, have, right? At least first time. I remember the first love. Just refer back to your first love will do, okay? All of you have at least been heartbroken before? Or maybe how many of you here have never been heartbroken but you broke many people's heart? Alright. But either way, if you're like me who have been heartbroken before, you understand how it feels, right? Okay. The thing is this. The fact that you are still here with me, listening to me, right, means you have managed to get over it, right? You have overcome the issues. But during that time, the first moment, the first day of getting heartbroken, maybe, and after that, all the way for another week or so, have you all been ever reached a situation saying that, oh, yo, my life is gone, I don't know how I'm going to continue my life anymore, yo, I don't know, I myself don't live anymore because I cannot live without her or him? Yes, sometimes some of you, maybe, not everybody. I see, Saranya, right, say no. But some will say that, oh, it's difficult. I remember my first, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's so painful. I can feel my heart being squeezed so badly, and I was thinking, how am I going to get through this day itself? But of course, over time, I was able to get through it, and somehow we all find a reason to get through, right? We managed to justify that, okay lah, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Now I got a chance to find a prettier girl, more handsome guy, which we will justify, right? Even though the current one is like, wow, fantastic. But we somehow find a way to justify and we get out of it. And we slowly climb out of the hole, right? Yeah. So what did you actually done? What have you actually done during the time? In problem solving, it's trying to solve a problem, right? In problem solving, we call this thing reframing. That means out of all the dark and gloomy areas, right? We tell ourselves that, okay lah, it's not so bad lah. I think I see the light at the other tunnel. I have hope. Maybe I learned something from this. Maybe from now onwards, I don't want to find girls like this anymore or guys like this anymore because it will break my heart again. Let's go for another type. For example, I need to find someone that maybe can have a similar interest or maybe totally different interest. I don't know, whatever it is, your experience, you find a way, right? So this is the technique we call reframing. You reframe, look at the situation and say, hey, we can actually find a way. We can actually solve this issue, right? We look at the brighter side. Does it make sense to you? Yeah? So you've done this before, right? So, have you remember this phone? Any one of you? Are you all old enough like me who knows this phone? Maybe some of you. Okay? Just a little bit of history, a little bit. Maybe now all of you are now in this iPhone, iPad, or touch version, right? But let me tell you this. 15 years ago, is it 15? Let me see. About 20. Yeah, about 10, 15 years ago, okay?
20 years, like, I would say
20
20 years.
Got 20, yeah? Yeah, got 20 years ago. 20 years ago. This phone was the phone, okay? Ericsson, during the time, before Nokia became the king, and it was Motorola was the king, then when Ericsson took over, right, they came out with very, very dashat Changi phone, and one of them is this phone. When it came out, right, this phone actually rocked the whole world. Yeah, more than 20 years through. Rocked the whole world. And I was there, and when I saw this phone, I was like, wow, I just love this phone. I must have it. But it cost so much. It cost about 1,600 just for this phone. Now phones cost about 4,000, right? During the time, 1,600 is crazy. And I wanted to own it. I already owned an Ericsson phone, but I wanted this. So I need to find a way to own this. But while I was so obsessed with this phone, right, I was also very obsessed with the company because the time that Ericsson was one of the company everybody wants to join. Just like now, everybody wants to join Samsung or Apple company, right? It's the same. During the time, Ericsson was the phone, no? Best benefit, just to be there associated with Ericsson is fantastic. So I actually applied for it and applied for 3 years consecutively. Never able to get in because they are not asking for mechanical. And finally, when they asked for a mechanical engineer, and they asked for a very funny title called verification engineer. I don't know what is it all about. All I know, he asked for the requirement is a mechanical engineer. Oh, I straight away jump into it. I write my best resume. I gelentong cukup, gao. I don't know what I write. I just write whatever it is. In my goal is that whatever it takes, I must get in, right? And true enough, I got through first interview, get through second interview, was so excited, and finally on the third interview, and I finally meet my future boss, right? And she was there talking to me. Everything looks good. Because everything I do also, I put in everything exaggerate like crazy, right, just to get a job. And finally, it come out to the last moment and say, hey, okay, I'm gonna come to the last question, which I need to solve with you. So what's the expected salary? And I mentioned what's my expected salary. He say, oh my, okay, I'm sorry, whatever you asked for is too high. In fact, how much is it? I say, he told me this is only about 3,500. At time I'm already getting about 3,000. I'm getting more than that, 3,500 plus, right? I say, hey, come on lah. I say, I'm really getting this. At least give me a bit more. Can or not? You see, but this is our budget and things like that. We are not looking for, you already kind of have the experience. But then after talk, right, I was so eager to do it. I said, do something about it. I just give me a better offer, slightly increase a bit for me, I'll be happy. So true enough, he said he'll think about it, he come back. So 2 days later, he called me up and said, okay, this is what I offer to you. And he just basically increased, if I'm not mistaken, 40 ringgit extra. Okay, just a 40 ringgit increase, right? Do you think I join? Sure lah, it's my dream company, right? So I joined. So I joined, Mati, so I joined. I just go inside because it's my dream company, Ericsson phone. Just this phone alone draws me into it. So I joined the company and was one of the engineers there. And very quickly, because it was the phone, the production was full force on this phone, right? Very quickly, I was in one of the project member of this phone, taking care of the production in terms of its quality and everything. So I was the design part of it. I would need to take care whether how can you make sure that this phone are able to be manufactured in the factory. So but within 3 months, very quickly, right? Then my senior came to me and said, hey, I'm going to pass this whole project. Now you are the project leader of T28. In fact, there's a new model coming up for US. It's called T28 World. You are now the project head. I'm going to pass to you. And I realized that every one of the seniors are so eager to pass on to the newer guys, like me, And I was wondering why, But I was very excited. I said, okay, no problem. I take it on. And soon enough, once I took it on my fourth month, right? Immediately I took it on the next following month, right? And I'm supposed to go down to production and to face all the production manager on the issue, and now I'm the new so-called new leader, the captain, right? Then I realized what is the problem. Well, this problem, right, in the production is very, very heated up. There's so much problem with this phone, right, that whoever in the production line, right, who's handling this issue, right, is always under fire, always under pressure to perform, because this phone has a lot of failures. Right? So much failures that until everybody is like, just don't want to get involved with this phone anymore. Now I understand why, and I'm now into the heat. And every day, every week, or Monday especially, we're going to get shoot. And it comes to one point and say, hey, so what are you going to do about this? You're in charge. We have so much problem. We have about 10% problems with the phone, and we are failing so much of it. We cannot afford this. What are you going to do? I was like stuck because I just came in, right? But then this is the thing. Under pressure, right, what do? Do you run away or do you take on? Because this issue can be very complicated and complex at the same time. Complicated because the design in a way is quite complicated. It's a fantastic phone, but it's not easy to manufacture. So a lot of changes in design needs to be done. Complex is that people are already so heated up and also emotion, they don't want to get involved. They are all blaming about the phone, lousy design, and everything comes in. But this is what I see. I remember it was only my fourth month, right? I told myself, all my seniors, after taking care of 1.5 years with this phone, they are running away. I'm facing these things. And this is the phone then. Okay, we are doing like 1,700 phone, one shift of 12 hours, 2 shifts, full day is 3,400 phones, times 12 lines. You just calculate how many phones are there. A lot of phones per day. And every reject is a losses, right? So someone have to solve this issue. So I saw this as an opportunity for me to solve it. If I can solve this issue while my seniors cannot do it, then what's going to happen to me? I immediately jump, right? So I've saw that as an opportunity, right? Whereas all my other seniors and other people are trying to run away, I say, hey, come on, it can be solved, right? Just like a Camel issue, it can be solved one. Question now is that how do I have to handle it? And I realized it's not about the it's more complex in nature than complicated, because a lot of them are trying to tackle it from the science point of view. They mean change this, change that. But I know it's realized that it's got to do with the system involved. So when I go into it and I study it, long story short, because of the time that we have, right, I was able to solve a lot of the problems from a mechanical point, right? I bring it down and actually solve up to about 7-8 million in that year for them just by bringing down the percentage of the failure down to 0.2%. It was 1% failure down to 0.2%, right? Just really do that because it's just about managing expectation. How do I handle this? Because it's got to do with managing people. How do I get to other department and get them to do certain things when they don't feel like doing it anymore? Because it's been trying out for the 1.5 years. So I need to be very, very objective. I need to be able to get them certain guidelines and settle it for them. Fortunately, I was trained very well in my previous company to solve problems because of the bosses that I have. And also I know that in problem solving, right, next time when you're going out to work, why do you think company hires you for the job? Let me ask you this question. You're going to go out to work eventually, right? Your company going to hire you, right? Why do you think they hire you for? Why do you think they're going to be willing to pay you whatever the amount you ask for? Would it be true? Would it be right for me to say that they are hiring you because you are there to solve certain problems for them? Correct? If you are hiring you and you're not able to solve the problems for them, right, would you be beneficial for them? Would you be valuable for them? No, right? So this is something that I learned in my previous employment. That's another story for another time. But basically, I realized that, hey, I'm hired to solve problems. If I'm not solving problems, right, indirectly, I'm creating more problems by not solving problems. Does it make sense to you? Yeah. So that's why complex issue is one thing that a lot of people do not know how to solve. If you can know how to solve complex issue, right, later I will share with you how to do this, you can be one of the most valuable person for the company. And your boss will pay you. Would you agree? It's not about your degree that you come out, right? Your degree that you have, you're supposed to be an engineer like me, right? I tell them I'm a degree, I'm a first class, whatever, go inside, and then I can't even solve any problem. What good of this degree going to do for me? It's just a stepping stone for me to go inside because it's just based on degree. But if I'm able to go inside and demonstrate what I can do, right, that's where my worth becomes important. Does it make sense to you? Yeah. So this Ericsson, this thing, right, is where I actually found I elevate me up in Ericsson very quickly. Yeah. And of course, that's from there onwards, I was able to move on. Make sense? Yeah. So it's about reframing. When you see a problem, do you run away from a problem or do you dare to face on to it? So let me ask you the question again. When you see a problem, I believe you all have a lot of problems, right? Back in school, project, whatever. Do you run away from it or do you say, bring it on, come on, I'll take it on? Okay, it's for you to answer yourself. Okay, if you dare to take it on and you know how, no matter how tough it is, you dare to take it on, right? I promise you one thing, you will definitely improve yourself as you go along because your ability to solve problems is one of the most valuable things for your career. Make sense? Yeah. So we all say, right, every problem is an opportunity. Would you agree? That's what people say, right? Yeah. Most important is that do you see it? Okay, we all know this. You know it, but do you do it? It means when you see a problem, do you do this? Okay, let's give you an example right now. Okay, this glass here is it half empty or half full? You heard of this before, right? Is it half empty, half full? What does it really mean? Whether it's half empty, half full, it's just a tongue twister, right? But what does it actually mean? What does half empty or half full really? What are they talking about? Tell me, anybody? Optimistic or not, correct? So optimistic or what? The other one, what's the other word? What's the other word? Yeah, thank you very much. So are you a pessimistic person or say? Okay. So what's the difference here? Being a pessimist and an optimist, what's the main difference here? One will go towards the problem, one will run away from problem, right? Correct. If you're going to solve a problem, let me ask you this question. If you're going to solve any problem at all, big or even big from small to big, right? If you are a pessimistic person, can you solve the problem? Is it possible for you to solve the problem? No way, right? The only chance you have is that if you are optimistic enough and you're going to try it off, you have a chance. Isn't it true? So if you're going to solve any problems, right, if you want to be a good problem solver, you cannot be a pessimist. You must find that little refrain, find the whole, the brightness at the other end of the tunnel, and be the optimist. Say, hey, there is a chance. Let's try this. Let's do this because there's a chance. But if you see no chance at all, right, I believe you're going to run away from it. And if you're running away from problem, right, that means you're not going to take on the problem, and you're not going to take on the challenges. Okay, then how are you going to solve any issues? So being a pessimistic, right? So if I'm going to go in a little bit. If you are a pessimist, let's see. That's right. If you see a pessimist, what's going to happen to you? That means when you see a problem, how do you see? What would this problem become for you? That means if you are a pessimist and there's a problem in front of you, what does it mean to you? Troubles, right? You run away, right? That means you see troubles, huh? True not? Okay. What the troubles you feel? That means with troubles you see what? Yes? True. Agree? Yeah? If you are a pessimist, you always see troubles, huh? You see everything is not possible, and you see risk. When you see risk, right? What's your emotion behind it? How do you feel? How do you feel? Right? So what do you see? Feel scared, right? I see somebody say Chen Xiao Rui, right? Thank you so much. So you see fear, right? So when you're in fear, right, would you run even further? Definitely. That's why you run away. This is how we all feel. You're a pessimist. But if you remain as pessimist, you can never overcome the fear. The only way to do is that you want to be optimist, right? Okay. When you see, if you are optimist, what do you see? If you are optimist, you see the problem as what? Thank you very much. Opportunity. With opportunity, what do you see? You have a chance, right? With opportunity, what do you see? What's the end of the opportunity? Thank you very much. You see rewards. With rewards, how would you feel? How would you feel? Yes? Accomplished, happy, excited, right? Alright? So you notice, the question now is that where are you normally when you see problems? Those you can solve, you are optimist, right? Those you cannot solve, you run away. Is that? Then you cannot. Then in that case, if things you do not know, you run away. So you must be able to find a way to learn how to solve problems. Right? I gotta tell you this: when you first come out as a degree holder, things like that, with the qualification, you will know certain things, right? But as you go higher and higher, would you know everything? Impossible. You need to keep on learning. So whatever you learn, right? One of the skills that I want to encourage you all to learn is learn how to solve problems, especially complex issues. If you can learn to do that, right, that means whatever problems that you have, you know how to handle it regardless whatever situation there is. Because it's about you are resourceful enough, you know how to go about doing it. Make sense? Yeah? Okay. So we have gone through this. So now let's talk about crisis at this moment, right? Are we in crisis? We are now in crisis, right? No longer ahead. Huh? So let's talk about a crisis right now. It's very real now. With the COVID-19 pandemic, 1 year has passed. And now we are in year 2, and we are still facing the situation and worst of it. Yeah. So how are we going to solve this issue? So what are some of the behaviors that you have? Okay, maybe it doesn't happen to you. I want you to look about this. I want you to think about this. What are some of the behaviors that you see, especially last year at the beginning of it, during crisis? At the beginning, remember, during March, when the pandemic just started and lockdown just about to happen, what are people reacting? Someone say you panic. Do you panic immediately? At the beginning, I don't think so anybody panic, no? Isn't it? think back a bit, okay? I want you to study this because this is how our normal behavioral pattern going to be. The more you know about this, the more you're able to know how to anticipate issues when it comes to complex issues. Huh? So at the beginning, what do you see? So I'm going to bring you to attention here again. Quickly, yeah? So what do you see at the beginning? So did you see, do you experience people who are like, tidak apa, don't really care, like nothing happens, no issue at all at the beginning? Yeah, right. Some people say ignore, right? I would say this word. They're like, no lah, it's okay one lah. They will go away in 2-3 months or not even 2 months At first, you think that you have seen people sending message in the WhatsApp saying that hey, people get killed by car accident more than ever lah. Why are you afraid of going out? Isn't it true? You say things like this. At the beginning, nobody really cared, thinking that it's not going to be something important. Just like H1N1 only. SARS also not so bad. It wouldn't be worse than SARS. But as you go through, they realize that this denial is not going to be true. It's going to be even bigger, right? And apart from just totally ignorance and in denial, after that, what are some of the behaviors that you see, which is very major? What do people do? Starting with, I give you a little clue. Starting with B. You see this happening in a lot of problems whenever you're dealing with problems anyway. Thank you. You see this happening? People are blaming the government, blaming everything for not wearing masks. Some people tell them what to do, they don't do, and they're blaming everything. Everything under the sky they can blame, they blame, right? Nobody want to take responsibility, but everybody want to blame. They should be this way, they should be that way, right? And this is very major. Until today, people are still blaming, right? It should be this way, it should be that way. How come people are not doing that? How come this, how come that? How come it's not full MCO and it's supposed to be MCO, but it's not really MCO? What is it doing? You're still blaming, right? And sometimes after you blame until you cannot blame anymore, what will be the next behavior they see? When you blame until you cannot blame anymore and you find that you are also part of the issue, what comes next? Before you accept, thank you, Gan Yi Hong. Accept is very good. Before you accept, there's another area that before people even accept, they are still into something like blame, but they cannot blame anymore. So what they do? Realization, that's later on. Before that, come on, Jay. Does it make sense? Can you relate? I cannot blame anymore. At first, I'm blaming everybody. It's not my fault. Everybody's not doing it. The government, things like that. Everybody, my friends are not following. And then I realized that I myself also at fault because I don't really follow, for example. Then I start to justify, right? Yeah, I cannot because how can I be staying at home all this while? You want me to die inside the house? I don't have to go out. People start to justify, right? True or not? You look at it. I want you to study this. People usually go on denial first. No such things, nothing one, okay one. And then, oh no, really it's happening. I start to blame other people. Start to finger point. And then, if you cannot finger point anymore, because when you point at people say 3 fingers are pointing back at me, right? So they say, okay, now I start to justify why is that? I cannot do it because you can do it, I cannot, because you dashat lah, I not me, right? Justify. And once you have denial, blame, and justify no more, right? What will be the next step here? It's only 2 ways only. Either you accept or what? You have only 2 ways. Either you accept it, or if you don't accept it, what do? Reject, or another word. Good, right? So in this case, you see some people give up on their business. Some people say, whatever lah, do whatever you want. I don't care anymore. It happens, right? So in the problems, sometimes don't talk about COVID, talk about other problems. Halfway through, say, I don't know what to do anymore. I cannot help you anymore. I quit. I'm not going to be part of this project team anymore. I'm going to quit. Has it ever happened before? Some people just quit halfway and say, I cannot do anymore. You do everything lah. I cannot do. They just quit because they already no longer able to justify themselves anymore, right? Okay. So the only way to do is that if you're going to solve any problem, can we be doing this? Can we be in denial mode? Can we be in blaming mode? Can we be in justifying mode? Can we be even quitting? If you want to solve a problem, no way, right? Does it make sense? Cannot. So we should not be in here. Yeah. So what should we be doing? Someone said accept, right? When you accept means you take what? When you accept it means you take action. Okay, take action means before you can take action, you need to be taking what? Yeah, thank you very much. True or true? Is it true? Yeah? Of course there's risk and everything, but take responsibility, because with responsibility, of course there's risk. But in order to solve any problem, at least we need to be responsible first. It may not be your fault, but if you're willing to be responsible, you take the first step towards solving the problem. Am I right to say this? If you are in denial, you are blaming, you're justifying, you're quitting, right? Are you solving the problem? You're not. You're actually creating more problems, right? Have you seen people always in this justifying and blaming, and they always tell people what they are supposed to do, but they themselves are not doing? They're actually indirectly creating more problems, right? They're adding more problems, adding more fuel to it. They're not even solving the issues. So the only way to do is that be responsible. Yeah. So in other words, we need to raise above this bar. Go above. Don't ever be here. Yeah. And even better, if you can, take charge. You find that responsibility is very heavy, right? Wow, how can I be responsible for everything? No. As a leader, we take charge. That's why I say problem solving is a leadership role. If you're not willing to be a leader, right, you will never solve problems. Would you agree with me? If you are not willing to be in the leadership role, right, you will never solve problems. Would you agree? Yeah, right? Because it's only crazy people who are willing to solve problems are willing to take on the issues. And usually these are leaders, I would say. That's why I find that leadership skills and problem solving skills are very interrelated. You cannot solve a problem if you are not a leader. And if you are not a leader, you will never solve problems anyway. Right? So that's why I say. So now, what makes the problems very complex is because what? Here. This is the one that makes things very complex. Because first of all, nobody wants to be responsible. If they are not willing to be responsible, they will be always blaming and justifying, tai chiing away. Correct? Not? And when you are doing this, can you solve problems? Very difficult. Yeah? So that's the issue. Make sense? So this is how we're going to do it. So understanding this is the first start, in my experience, to understand if people's behavior is normally like this. You look at this, right? I want you from now onwards try to be a bit more conscious. Whenever there's a problem, right, find out where are they, where are your teammates or whoever you're trying to solve a problem with, where are they in terms of behavior when you're trying to solve a problem. If they are in denial mode, then you know that they just don't care. Or they find that they hopefully close my eyes tomorrow, it's just the problem just run away, right? But you know it wouldn't happen. If they're always blaming and blaming, right, they are not ready to solve anyway. If they are still justifying, right, they're still not ready to solve anyway. If they are quitting and not willing to take responsibility, you're not going to go anywhere anyway. Does it make sense? Yeah? You want to be able to work with people who are responsible. So if they are on this part here, right, this is where not complicate things, even though you use the word complicated and complex interchangeably, right, they actually make the situation more complex. Because in order to solve a big problem, we need everybody to come together. But these people who are here are not doing their part. And this is where the challenge comes in. Does it make sense? Are you getting me? If you're getting me, put in the 5 there. Put in 5 so that I know that you're with me. If you understand me, you're getting with me, put a 5. Yeah? So far you're with me, right? Okay, great. So you're still with me? Good. So now, how do we going to do this? Okay. So it's all about emotions. You have to deal with emotions first, right? Because it's the people that causes issues in the problems. I used to be an engineer. I was an engineer before. I remember very clearly one day I go up to my boss and I asked him, "Hey boss, how I wish this factory that we have here, right? It's just like a vending machine. I just punch in the number, put in $1 coin, tung, 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 Coca-Cola Coke come out. Don't have to worry about people manufacturing the thing, just come out. And he looks at me and say, and he smile, yeah, I also wish to have that. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen. We still need people to manufacture the things, right? That means, in other words, every section, every department, everybody needs to get through from point A to all the way to Z in order to get whatever product we are trying to manufacture, right? The phones or whatever things. So then this is where managing these people is very difficult. And this is also the reason why a lot of companies are trying to automate everything using robots, because robots got no emotion, right? Whenever there's an issue, just change the things, whatever thing, just change it, settle. But when you're dealing with people, there's so many kinds of emotion. For example, if I'm today, I just got heartbroken, I'm not in the mood to work, and that's it. The whole day, I'm not going to work so well anymore. Yeah, does that make sense? So it's all about emotion. So you have to learn how to deal with emotions. Learning just now what you just saw in the chart here is what the emotions behind it. Because you see this behavior. Why are they in denial? Why are they blaming? It's the behavior that you see. But what's happening inside the head? Either they are frustrated, they are afraid, they are I don't know, they are not confident. It's all the emotions behind it. Understanding this is very important for you to solve all the complex issues, because you need to deal with that. Unless you can do it everything by yourself. Yeah. So I'm now going to share a little experience right now. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to break you all off to, you have about 47 people. I'm going to make you all into maybe 4 in a group. Okay, 4 in a group. Just short while for maybe about 2-3 minutes. I want you all to just discuss with each other what you have just learned from me so far. Does it make sense to you or not? Do you have any, if you are in doubts, whatever thing you agree or disagree, doesn't matter. Can you share among with the 4 of you in the group what have you just learned? Maybe have a little discussion, teach each other what your understanding is. Is it okay? So that you have a chance to actually talk it out rather than just listening to me. Does it make sense to you? Are you ready? Can I can't see you all, right? Most of you are off the thing. So I'm going to put you on, once you're in the group, right? On your video so that you all can see each other, have a quick introduction, don't have to talk too much, say hi, my name is, things like that, and then straight away go into the topic on what you've just learned this thing and share among each other. What have you picked up from this? What are some of the aha moments that you have? Everything that you have. Alright? So I'm going to create the breakout rooms right now. About 4 to 5 of you. Get ready? Go. It takes about only 3 minutes for you to share. Go. Who is not in? Let me see. Christine, Shiyu, how come you're still here? Let me see. Where are you? Christine not joined. You've been come. Christine, Yu Bin Kang, are you here? Gan? All right, are you all able to have a good discussion?
Yellow one.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes, we
okay.
actually shared a lot of things.
Share a lot, most important, okay. Because I didn't see your face, I don't know, so I think better let you all go off, don't see my face, maybe you'll share more. So you're sharing, so any questions, any clarifying questions that you have among yourself? Anything that you want to clarify, please bring it up first before I move on. Anyone have any questions at all? Please just unmute and just ask. No? All good to proceed? Put in number 2 there so that I know I can proceed. Right, thank you. So I hope you all get something from there. So, but I encourage you all to ask me questions so that I know I'm on the right track. Yeah. Okay. So pin to me, please. Where am I? Okay, Injil, pin to me, yeah? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna move on. So now that you know all these things, right, we need to really focus. So would you agree? In order to solve any issues, right, we need to be focusing. Yeah? Yeah? Need to focus. So what to focus on? Let's see how well do we focus, yeah? So I'm gonna do a little simple activity with you, a simple video I'm gonna play. So watch the video and tell me or tell everybody later on what you see, right? Watch the video and tell me what you see. Ready? Can I? So I'm gonna play right now.
Count how many times the players wearing white pass the ball.
All right. Okay. Tell me, what do you see? 16. Well, I write 16. 16 what? What do you see? 16 what? Let's be more specific. 16? 17 passing, 16 passes. Okay, majority will say 16, right? So 16 passes or what? People, the guys, the girls, or the players wearing white passes the ball, right? Yes? In white. So how about the white? How about the black one? Did you calculate? No. Why not? Why not? Why you calculate white? I said white? No, I didn't say. I say pay attention to the video, right? Tell me what you see, right? But of course, the first instruction is that calculate the number of ball the players wearing white passes the ball, right? And you immediately see your focus has changed immediately. Yeah, because the next instruction. Okay, so nobody mentioned calculate that, right? What else do you see? I saw somebody there written there. What gorilla? What gorilla? What is it? What about gorilla? What do you see? You saw a gorilla, you mean? 3 white, 3 black, 4 people are girls, okay? I'm interested to know now. Somebody write in gorilla. What is it about gorilla? Someone saw what? Yushin, is it? Go Yushin say I saw a gorilla and lost count. See, he got distracted by gorilla. What gorilla are you talking about? There's someone in gorilla costume. Okay, now let me ask you, how many of you here? Maybe you can put a thumbs up for me. Who here saw the gorilla? Put a thumbs your emoticon, the direction. Who saw gorilla? Put a thumbs up if you see gorilla. Put a thumbs up. Yes. Not everybody see gorilla, right? Okay, now those never see gorilla will be wondering what is it am I talking about? Yeah. Interesting, right? Okay, now what else do you see? So someone see gorilla, someone in costume, or okay, someone saw the gorilla and ignore him. Okay, so other than gorilla, what else do you see? Did somebody from the players, anyone left the place? Anyone left the place? One girl in white left the frame. Okay. Anyone saw somebody left the place? Left the stage? Not sure, right? How about yes, one black guy, black girl or white? Player in black or is it player in white? Okay, no problem. Someone left. Someone saw it. How many of you see that? Or how many didn't even see that or didn't even realize? How about any changes in the background? Like the curtain. Is there any changes in the curtain? Before got no curtain, now got curtain. Anybody see anything? Red to brown, right? So there's a lot of changes, no? You didn't realize, right? Would you like to see it again? Shall we see again? So they get to know, huh? Alright, let me see again. Okay, ready? Everybody see again, huh? 1, 2, go.
Count how many times the players wearing white pass the ball.
Curtain in red, 3 black, 3 in white, all girls, passing balls. And here comes the gorilla. Someone in black had left the stage, right? The curtain behind changed, right? Interesting, right? So I assume just now based on the hands raised, about 50% of the people here will see the gorilla. Yes? Yeah. So okay, it's okay if you didn't see it. By the way, yeah, it's okay if you didn't see, right? As an engineer, maybe because I'm being an engineer, right? I want to be correct all the time. Very kiasu also. So when first time I saw this video, I didn't see the gorilla at all. I said, what gorilla? I didn't even see anything at all. I was so focused on the ball being passed around, and I don't want to even say, I don't want to be accused of not knowing how to count. So I was so focused on the ball, whatever that is happening, I don't even know. So how many of you are like me? Yeah, it's the same video, of course. Alright, so the thing is this, can we focus? I'm sure we can, but what are we focusing on? So in problem solving, it's very important to know what to focus on. Would you agree? Yeah, because if you are focusing all over, you're not going to get anything done. But however, when you're focusing on one thing too specifically or too intensely, and you never see the surroundings, what's happening, that could be also a challenge, right? So sometimes our awareness is very, very important. So this is something that I want you all to practice. God, being a leader, eventually being a problem solver, you want to be able to feel what's happening in the environment, because you're talking about emotion, right? People in front of us will not tell you this, but behind is like, oh, I'm fearful, I'm angry, I'm frustrated. And when you ask, can you do it? Yeah, I can. But behind is like, yeah, right, I can. You show me first. You know what I'm saying? And this is the one that can make it very complex. Not complicated, it's actually pretty easy. Even complicated matters, right? Just like Rubik's Cube, if I know the formula, I can do it. If I can teach you the formula and you just follow exactly step by step, you can do it. The only problem is that if I teach you how to do it and you are like, no, I think I can do it better my own way, or I just don't trust you, I just don't want to do it for whatever reason, or because I find it very, very, very tedious, very too much work, or too much process involved, and this is where how the effectiveness becomes an issue, and that created very complex, even though a simple problem cannot be solved because of that. Does it make sense? Yeah. So focus is the key here. So I'm going to share with you a technique right now about being focused. Yeah. Using solution focus approach. I don't know whether you have heard of this before. I know Professor Peter Polk, which is in IMU, right? He's one of the solution focus coach. I got to know him from one of the program with solution focus as well. And he's one of the coaches, one of the senior coaches in solution focus. So he talks about this, and when I learn about this, right, I find that it's very, very powerful in terms of solving complex issues. Because solution focused approach is a way for us to work with things, work with what is available right now, and just do it rather than telling people or putting in and saying that what it should be done. It's not about what it should be done, but what it could be done based on what we have right now. Yeah. So why solution focused, right? So how many of you here thinks that being resourceful is very important? Yes, so it's not about resources, right? Resources we have, sometimes we don't have, but how resourceful we are is most important. Would you agree? Yeah. Put in the number 3 there if you agree, so that I know. Yeah. Your ability to be resourceful, that means you know how to find a way. Even though you do not know now, but you will find a way. That is the key, or that is the traits of a leader. That means you are resourceful. That's very, very key important. Yeah. If you want to be a good problem solver, you need to learn to be resourceful. Yeah. So let's share a little bit about the founders. These are 2 founders. I'm not going to talk too much of them, but they are psychiatrists. Right? They work with a lot of people who have troubles, either some from past or these are all the psychiatrists, right? And they found out that sometimes talking about the problems is not going to help. Instead, they want to look forward, looking into the future and say, how can we move the patient forward into the future that they want? And because of their studies and everything, they have been able to expand their research, right, into now coaching. Coaching is now using solution focused coach. I've been trained in solution focus as a coach, and then now more and more and getting into leadership as well. That means solution focused leadership. How do we lead from a very solution focused approach? Yeah. So I just want to run through a few things with you. So why solution focus basically is a very practical approach. It's about simplicity. It's about discovering what works. In other words, we study the root cause of success rather than study the root cause of failure. We focus on what people really want and work with what people want. We figure out what's been going on very well right now and how can we make full use of them. So it's a very positive, very pragmatic way of doing things. So we were working with people's emotion mainly. This is what I see. Right? So 3 key principles. I want you to remember this. This is very powerful in my opinion. I kind of follow this very much, and I really believe this is the key to solving a lot of complex issues if you can just follow this. Yeah. Number 1, don't fix what isn't broken. That means if things are not broken, don't cari pasal or find fault and go and change things unnecessarily. Because a lot of times, I put it this way, it doesn't mean that we are not innovative, but there are things that is in place because maybe of 3, 5, 10 years ago, people already got used to doing certain things, and because of so many interaction between different departments, different people are involved, they have come to a point, right, that they close one eye also they know what to do. You know what I'm saying? It's become second nature to them. And because of that, right, so whatever is being done, right, they can just do it automatically, almost automatic mode, and they can just do it, and there's not much really issues. And sometimes being innovative, right, you say, okay, let's change this thing and put in a new system, put in a new way of doing things. And would you agree with me that every time you change certain things very new, right, usually there's a lot more problems happens at the beginning? That's because a lot of people need to get accustomed and get to the new way of doing things. And sure enough, definitely, because it's no longer the normal way of doing things, right, they will make mistakes. Human being being human being will make mistakes. New policies, new procedures, new process, new system always needs to be tested and tried and verified before it becomes permanently proven to be work, right? So because of that, in that case, if it's not really broken, don't simply just change the whole system. Improve on it gradually, but don't suddenly change. Because if you're going to change it for whatever reason, because the old system doesn't, you don't want to use anymore, then you need to be very mindful that you can expect a lot of problems to be appearing. Does it make sense? And you must be ready to handle it. Yeah, that's number 1. So because of, if you know that if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? That means that if it's not broken, means solutions are working. Does it make sense to you? That means if things are not broken and it's working well, that means the solutions, whatever is being done right now, the methods, the techniques, the system, the processes are pretty good. They are doing well. Things are running very well. That means solutions are already working. So now, my question is this, being solution-focused thinking is this. If you know that this thing is working, what is it that actually is working? If we can study that and then learn that, and can we do more of it? We expand on it. then we can actually improve a lot more things, right? For example, right, just say we have 5 of us. Angel is there, Angel, my associate here, and she is very good at doing certain things. And when they come to me, right, I always make a lot of blunder. And everybody's wondering, why is the problem with you, Why can't you just do and you teach me all kind of things? But the thing is that if I were to go to Angel and say, hey, Angel, how do you do it, right? And I learn from Angel, for example, right? Do you think that I will be able to learn something that definitely benefit me to make myself be better? Because she knows how to do it. Does it make sense? Because she already has the solutions. All I need to do is learn from people who already know it, or things already working, study that, and then pick it up. Hey, if it's working right now, can we expand more? Can we do more of it? Rather than just ignore it and say, yeah, take it for granted, it's good, leave it as it is. But why not study it? Why is it that's working? What makes it work? If you know what works, can you do more of it? Can you expand on it? That's where the key, I think number 2, this is the main key in finding a lot of solutions to a lot of complex issues. Even complicated issue as well, whatever problems there is, right? And number 3 is this: if it's not working, don't continue. Stop. Yeah, right? If it's not working, don't continue anymore. Some people say, try some more lah, maybe it works. Then try some more. Try lah, maybe it will change. Sometimes have you seen this happening before? It's very funny, right? And this is where the definition of insanity comes in, right? Albert Einstein said, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results is crazy. But we all tend to do that. However, there's a flip side to it. Doing the same thing that works over and over again, you can expect the same results, right? So that's why number 2, there's a flip side. That means things that's not working, don't do. But if it's working, do more. And I really like this very much, because if I know this, right, that means I will go around looking for things that works. And now if this thing works, it's been proven to work, the same strategy, can I take the same strategy, apply in somewhere else? Because it has been proven to work. So I don't have to purposely plug from the sky. I think it should work. Maybe I try these things. I become more tactical, right? I will say more wise, and I find out what works, how people are doing it, whatever works, I take it. Does it make sense to you, guys? Yeah? Put a number 4 there if it makes sense to you, so that I know you're getting me. Put a number 4, please. Is this exciting? Do you get it? Can you relate to this? Yeah, is this a big aha moment for a lot of people? I think this is my biggest aha moment when I got this now, when I learned this. I said, yeah, man, this is like, oh my goodness, this is gold. Yeah, and this is the one reason that the techniques, even though I learned this a bit later, I realized that I've been doing that in my employment, in my 16 years as an employee, right? How I solve millions of dollars and everything, right, is that I use these similar techniques. I say that instead of me figuring out on my own, I go and find out what people are doing it right, and I just adopt whatever model they have, right? Modify it if I have to suit the environment in my company, in my situation. But I know whatever works, I just use it. It's even more effective, isn't it true? You get my point? So, and this is where I talk about the 3 steps. A very simple approach, just do this. Yeah, and of course, would you like to go a bit deeper a little bit? Can you just understand a bit more? Okay, this will take a bit longer time, but I just want you to have a look, take 1 minute, read through quickly, and then maybe I'll go through about 2 or 3 of them which is relevant, so that you all know. This is some of the fundamentals of solution focused approach, and I just want to ask you a permission to challenge your thoughts, your knowledge right now. It may be one of these 7 fundamentals, right, could be totally contradicting to what you are thinking right now. Okay, whether it's right or wrong doesn't matter. I encourage you to just suspend judgment for a little while and just say, is it possible I can look at things from a different way? Yeah, because this is the thing that sometimes by just following certain fundamentals here, right, we can overcome a lot of things pretty easy. So take a look, please. Alright, looking at all these 7, right? Maybe you can put it in the chat group there. Let me know which one do you like the most. Okay, which one do you like the most? That relates to you and say, yeah, I like this, I like number 2, because No, I agree, totally agree. And at the same time, is there one that you don't define that? No, I don't agree. Which one you don't agree? Yeah. Don't agree, put there X and then the number lah, so that I know. A lot of 2, a lot of 5, 4 also. So is there any of these fundamentals here that you find that is very that you don't agree? Anyone? Or can you agree with all of them? Explain 4 and 7 now. Okay, good. Later I come to you. Yeah, Yi Hong. Right. Okay, I'm gonna go through this as clearly as I can, because this will take some time actually. We are also coming up to time. Okay, I'm gonna go through something. Okay, number 1, right? Change are happening all the time. Yes, would you agree with this? People say the only constant is change. And this is actually what it means in a way. Right? So change is happening. Like this COVID-19, things have changed. It's a new norm. Like it or not, it's change. The question now is that whatever all the change, what our job is to actually to identify and how can we make use of that. For example, now the whole internet marketing and purchasing through internet, all online issues or online business is all blooming like crazy. Because this COVID-19 actually expedite the whole thing. Would you agree with that? Now we have online delivery, online buying. You're buying from Shopee more than ever. People who doesn't know how to buy from Shopee also know how to buy from Shopee now. Even my mom also know how to do certain things when in the past impossible for her to know, right? So the whole pandemic has actually forced the whole things have changed. Like it or not, I don't think so. You actually go back to our previous normal anymore, right? But if you are affected negatively, then you want to identify what are the things that have to change and go into that, amplify that to go more into internet marketing, for example, or do more or learn more about internet related matters, for example, right? So number 2 is that there's no right way of looking at things. So I will pick a few. 2, 3, and 4 I'm going to discuss a bit more. Number 7 is what I talk about all this while about emotion. You want to be able to manage people's emotion. This is what I talk about. Almost the whole 1 hour and a half. Right? That's number 7. Number 4, I come to this. I'm going to talk about 2, 3, and 4. I think this 2, 3, and 4 is going to be very important. Yeah. So look at this. What do you see? You've seen this before, right? I believe. What do you see? Do you see a young lady or do you see an old woman? Or who here see both? Who can see both? Okay, like it or not, just like the gorilla thing just now, there'll be some people who will see the young lady, some will see the old lady. Yeah, some who knows the trick will see both. Okay, now the thing is this: when it comes to problem solving, right? This is my take on this. Okay, it doesn't matter where you see an old lady or see a young lady. The fact is that this little picture here, there's 2 sides of the story, 2 angles. I can see the young lady, I can see the old lady. But in the past, when I first see it, I saw the young lady first. But after understanding, yeah, there's actually an old lady here. Now I can see both. So if you're going to solve a problem and just say, assuming that you are only seeing the young lady, and then your friends are seeing the old lady, and you're arguing about it, what's the point of arguing it? You're going to make the whole thing more complex, right? The most important is that, okay, why do you see a young lady? Can you please show me? And I show you. And we now have 2 different perspectives of looking at things. Does it make sense? It doesn't matter. Once you have 2 perspectives, right, that means there's 2 different ways of solving problems. It doesn't matter whether yours is better, yours or mine is better. As long as it works for me, why not? Okay, in order for me to convince you to follow my way, if you're not convinced, you prefer your way, even though I feel that following your way you're going to spend more time, by all means use your way. It doesn't really matter, because whoever use their own methods will do things more effectively, right? Cannot see a young lady. Okay, let me show you. Some people, if I don't show it to you, you will never get past this. Okay, now this is the, okay, let's look at the old lady. This is the whole face. Yeah, it's the whole face. Huh? Okay, the old lady, this is the nose, this is the big nose. The old lady's eyes here and here. Can you see this? This is the old lady's mouth. This is the chin. Can you see the head now? This is the whole face. Can you see the old lady? Yeah, and this is her so-called the scarf, right? Can you see? And for the young lady is this. Young lady is on the side. This is the young lady's ear. This is the side of his face. It's basically looking from the back a little bit. This is her eyebrow. This is a small little nose here. This is young lady's chin and cheek. Okay, and this is her neck. This is her necklace. This is her fur. Can you see? Can you see not? Whoever that just now asked me, no. Never mind. Take a screenshot. Take a screenshot and then you go and study with your friends. Okay. So the thing is this: you can see both sides, right? So no point arguing, because in a situation, right, we don't want to argue who is best, who's whatever. As long as we can solve the problem, solve the problem. If you're a problem solver, you want to have many perspectives of things so that you know what people are looking at things, so that you don't only come from only one silo angle. Make sense? Got it? You got it? Put I don't know, 6. Put a 6 so that I know. Yeah. Right? So this is one thing very important. That's number 2, right? So the next one. We are always thinking that in order to solve a problems, we must first understand the root cause of the issue, right? Okay, how many of you here, let me ask you this question again. How many of you find that in order to solve a problem, first you must understand the root cause of it? How many of you agree? If you agree, put a yes, put a Y. That means in order to solve any issues, you must know the root cause. If you do not know the root cause, you cannot solve an issue. Yeah? Okay, good. So in solution-focused thinking, you don't need to know the root cause to solve a problem. And I actually, in my experience, I know it's true. You don't have to. Okay, I want you to think back, right? Even though that's what our conventional thinking in school we are being taught, that in order to, or logically, in order to solve any problem, you must first know what's the issue first. If you know the root cause, then I know how to handle the root cause. But in a very complex world, where there's so many interactions, sometimes the root cause cannot be determined because it's a combination of a few, right? So let me give you some example, right? Have you ever have a puncture before in your car? When you're driving, you got a puncture. Have you? Yes, right? When you have a puncture, what do? You go to the side, right? And then what do you do with it? How do you solve the problem? How do you solve the issue? You just change the tire. Yes? Go behind and change. Maybe you curse, but you just change the tire and be done. Have you ever sit down there and wonder, where did I puncture that tire? Which corner? How come on the left side and not on the right side of this tire? How come on this tire and not on tire? Do you go around figure out the root cause why this tire got punctured? Or did you just go and figure out, I just change and be done with it, I'm not going to bother anymore? I know some does. I didn't gan hong there. Just some people are really very psycho and they will study like crazy. Just joking. But most of us don't, right? We just change it, right? And then you just wonder, maybe it's there, and just be done with it. Isn't it true? Or another example, when you are using your computer and it hangs. When it hangs, right? No matter how you do, you can never shut down the computer. You can never try to recover whatever you work. What do? Yeah, you may curse and everything. I should have done this, I should have done that. But ultimately, what do you do? What do you do to actually overcome the issue? You just restart, right? You just restart and say, too bad, and going to start back all over again. Because you know that sometimes going into what actually causes the issue, why at this hour my PC can hang, at this hour maybe I press strongly, maybe I press, it's not going to be helpful, isn't it true? Yeah. So most of the time we all know how to overcome all these things, but however, when you come to problems that we're trying to solve, right, somehow we fall back into a very conventional thinking. Maybe it's the way we are brought up, maybe it's the way how society is doing things. We always want to figure out what is the root cause of the issue. But in actual fact, a lot of times, I want you to think back, a lot of times, a lot of solutions that you come up with, is it related to the root cause that you discover? Or is it usually an alternative solution to it? If you are like me, that been doing this program for quite some time, asking a lot of people, right? Most people agree that It's usually is not related to root cause. Unless you are doing projects like very, very technical, complicated matters, which means like, for example, you're designing the phone, you're already halfway through and the phone is failing continuously, you need to figure out where is the root cause of the thing to actually settle it. Because you're designing the phone, you're designing the car, the door is not able to slam shut all the time. Every time it's always bounce back. You have to figure out where to adjust it so that you can make sure that every unit of the car you're going to produce, or every door you produce, going to be closing correctly. That is very technical, it's true. But if it's a not technical issue, usually we will find another way and get it done. Like if the PC is spoiled and it's always failing, so worst case is that, okay, just buy a new PC and be done. Right? Unless you really sayang the PC so much, you really have to do something about it. But most people just change the new PC and it's an alternative solution, or find another way of going around it and be done. Does it make sense to you? So that's what I mean. In solution focus, that we don't have to worry about, we don't have to analyze too much. We just know that, okay, this is the situation. I know where the problem roughly is coming from. How can we go about it, go over it, go under it, whatever, find a way that's effective enough to overcome it. Especially in a very complex situation where it involves humans, right? Human issues, right? Sometimes it's about finding a way to make sure that their emotions are taken care of and they're happy doing it. It's done. Because sometimes there's a lot of things you can never predict when it comes to human beings' behavior and things like that. Does it make sense? So you want to go around it. Yeah, do you get it? Do you get this point? If you understand it, put a yes there again so that I know. Yeah. Right. The third one. So there's no link, yeah? The third one. Okay, I want you to look at this. What do you notice about the apples? What do you see? What do you first see about this? What did you see? Different directions. How many of you see the worms first? There's two apples that's got worms, right? There are worms, right? Right. First thing we focus that there's a problem. There's worms. That means we always look at the problem first. True enough. We always catch problems very quickly. We are so good at catching people's problem, but we never sometimes pay attention to. Hey, there's 18 apples that is actually good. I focus, hey, why they got worms? How come these two got worms? We always look at the problem first. Okay? Give you another situation. Okay, look at the equation here. What do you notice about the equation? Quickly, yeah, quick. Wrong answers, right? What else? The answers are wrong, okay? Majority are wrong, is it? Did you notice one that is correct? There's one, right? And we tend to focus on all the wrong, right? What kind of all wrong, right? All wrong. We focus on the wrong things. We are so good at capturing the wrong things, right? Sometimes we've forgotten on the right one. I think it's got to do with our conditioning on how we are being trained, and maybe by our parents, because we are always been capturing people. Hey, how come you always make these mistakes? And we are so good at capturing people doing wrong things now. We are very quick at just pick up mistakes. It's a way our education is how the teacher punishes us as well, things like that. So we cannot be making mistakes and things like that. And when we do it correctly, nobody praises, right? And this is the issue. However, from solution perspective, right, if things are doing, for example, if this is working well, right, this is the exception. Exception is where the possible solutions can happen, because if this thing is correct, right, so the question we want to ask is, hey, how come this one can be correct? How come all the others, I know all are wrong, but this one is correct. Why? If you can focus on this instead of the others, why the others are wrong? Then that's where the chances comes in. Someone asked me about the exceptions, right? Is this? Maybe I bring it up over here. Right? Okay, pay attention here, guys. Okay, this is very important. This is the key. This is really the key. Do we face problem every day? Looks like it, right? But do we face problem every minute, every hour of the day? No, right? So if you look at the whole day, for example, or maybe look at the whole week, okay, even though you see this whole day I really terrible, wow, whole 24 hours I was having problem. But do you face problem? Do you face every minute of the day for the next 7 days? Probably not, right? You still have time to go to toilet, right? You say if you have no time to go to toilet means you're so busy, right? So that means if you look at it objectively, out of 7 days, for example, how many percent of the hours in terms of percentage, right, do you actually face the problems? That means problems that you're like, wow, I don't know what, I really have to pay attention to it. And you need to focus your mind on it. How many percent of it, of the time in a whole day or maybe a whole week that you actually face the problems? How many percent? Put it up. 1%, 2%, 10%, 50%. I'm talking about problems that you really mind-boggling, that you really have to pay attention to it. Hello, how many percent? Come on. Out of the whole day, say use the whole day. Say talk about waking hours lah. How many hours in the whole day? Say 12 hours that you actually face the problems that you really have to solve. Then the rest is like, never mind, I can still go and do my own things. Are you catching me? Yeah. 5% of the day? Oh, Saranya say only 5%. Okay. 5%. What else? Anybody have more than 5%? Let me get an average. %, 5%, 40%. Others? 5, 10, about 20% now on average. 15%. 15. Okay, looking at this right now, I think it's about 10, 15%, 5%. So let's put on the high side. Can I say 20%? Let's say on the high side. Yours will be mainly about 5 to 15. So you see 20% are problems. Alright, 20% problems, huh? And then we focus like, oh, I see every day I'm facing so much problem, I've got so much problem to work on and things like that. But actually, in actual fact, it's only 20%. And we say that, well, the whole day we are consumed with problems. But then, if 20% are the one having problems, what are this part here? It means 80% of the time, you don't really face with problems, right? You can go on an automatic mode, right? But we don't focus on this, right? We focus on this so much. And then figuring out what needs to be done. Maybe we can do this thing. Or the maybe solution. But then, that means there's only 20%. How about the other 80%? These 80% are things that you can close one eyes and you can just do it. That means, in other words, these 80% are solutions already working right now. Yeah. Have we ever sit down or stop for a little while and pay attention? What are these 80% that I'm doing so well that I don't really need to bother? I can just get it done. I'm quite sure there's a lot of tasks or whatever things you're doing here, but you can just do it without you ever thinking, or maybe it's not even a problem for you. You just come and just settle it. Right? That means you know the solution to this. That means these are all solutions already working. Okay? I call this exception. Or if it's the other way around, just say 80% are problems, 20% are no problems. That means there's an exception of 20% of the time you don't actually face the problems. So what is this 20% that what actually happened? What actually happened here that causes this 20% to have no problem or lesser of it? And this is what I call exceptions, right? That means when things doesn't happen, when you expect to have problems but it doesn't really happen, we call this exception. So exceptions are the one that actually, that means something happens or is happening that creates lesser problems. So that means something is working at the time, at the moment. So if you can just study that, would it be possible that you actually found a solution to that? Maybe all this time I'm always facing 20%. But then if I pass on to someone else, for example, just say I pick another name, I say Fatima here. Fatima say, no, when he's doing it, she only have 5%. That means she knows certain things that I do not know. If I can find out from her, that means it's an exception. For her, it's exception. I need to figure out what did she do differently that I'm not doing. Does it make sense to you? Yeah. Sometimes look back into yourself. That means things are not happening. That means today I'm expecting some problems to happen. Every day I'm always having this problem, but today somehow there's no problem. So why? Why today is so special? What is the exception today? What did I do differently? Or what did I not do differently? No, could be different. So the studying of this thing can actually make a lot of difference. Yeah? Does it make sense to you? If it makes sense, just put a, I don't know, put a 7 there, so that I know that you're there. You understand me? So are you learning something? Are you picking up something? Are you learning something important here? Can you see how these things can be actually helping you in problem solving? Is it an aha moment for you? Yes? If it's yes, put yes. Okay. Is this valuable for you? This is what I think is so important. From my experience, this is truly, truly important. Sometimes I do not know how to teach it to people because there's so many people outside that sometimes they don't really catch these little simple fundamentals. And hence we have so much conflicts outside. But your ability to know all these things and preempt or it means get ready for it. That means when it happens, like I know it's going to come, okay, and you know how to go about it and handle them from the beginning, right, as much as possible, right, you can actually substantially reduce the problems that you're going to face, especially a lot of this complex issue. Does it make sense? Yeah. All right. Right. So now, let's talk about one more thing, okay? Then we'll have time to go already. Yeah. So root cause analysis. I think I just want to address one issue, like earlier we mentioned. In order to solve any problems, you need to understand the root cause, right? And this is where I talk about the root cause analysis. Yeah. Let me tell you why we don't need to, right? Okay. There's 3 types of root causes. Okay. Number 1 is physical causes, where it's tangible things. That means materials or items or equipments fail because of that. Y'all got it? Things that's caused by physical things. Okay. Number 2, caused by human causes, either human error, that means intangible. That means people did something wrong, or they never do certain things they're supposed to be doing. Basically, it's human issues. That means the human never do, the people never do. Okay. This is where we say they should be doing but never do, right? Human causes. Number 3, organization causes. This is where we talk about either it's policies or processes or the system not working, maybe the SOP not in place, or certain things are supposed to do but we need to get the red tapes, whichever, that's causing things to have delay or faulty. Make sense? These are 3 main causes everywhere. So let me ask you, if you're going to break it down to a percentage, I'm going to bring you to front here again. Okay, you're going to break it down to percentage. What percentage will you give for physical, human, and if all total 100%, is physical? Okay, organization. So you're going to break it up total 100%, right? What percentage would you give over for physical, human, and organization? Can you please bring it up for me? You're going to put it in chat. Maybe put in 1 how many percent, 2 how many percent, 3 how many percent? 172, alright? 10, 70, 20, alright? What else? I get a few from you all, I get an average. 442. 40, 40, 20. What else? Of course, it depends on your work, whatever that you're doing, right? Different nature of things you do will be different. One more, come on, one more. 10, 70, 20, 40, 40, 40, 40, 20. Any others? 20, 60, 20. Okay. Alright, then I just take this first for a matter of time. So if you look at this, majority of it, I would say that is because of human issue. You all agree? Yeah. Physical is only about, maybe on average, about let's say 20%, 25%. Here will be majority here, but maybe up to 60 to 70%. Yeah, true. Here's only about 20%. Yeah. So now, if you know this, organization issue are is it indirectly human issue as well? Yeah, because who controls the organization policies and procedures and everything? Human, right? If I'm more relaxed, never mind, I just go that. But if I'm very strict, then it becomes an issue, right? If I'm too easy, also could be an issue depending where you're coming from. Yeah. So overall here, these are human issues, right? Okay. If you know that most of the problems, which is complex in nature in this case, are human issues, where will be my finger be pointing on in terms of the root cause? Human, right? So how many of you like me to be pointing to you? You are the cause of it. You'll be like, oh, not me. Not me. And this is where your behavior goes into denial, blaming, justifying, and Tai Chi, Silat, all things comes out of it. Wing Chun also come in, right? And if you know this is the issue, majority of time, 70% of the time are caused by human, or even up to 80%, right? As so far I've been doing majority of 80% are actually caused by human. So no point finding root cause, right? Because you know it's going to be human issues. And the human issue means you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you should be doing that, but people are not going to do it. So the fact is the fact, the truth is the truth is the truth. No point just pointing fingers at other people. Solution focus is that you know it's going to be human majority of the time. How can we overcome this by doing things differently, or following certain human behavior or human natural tendency of doing things and cater for that and solve the things from the other perspective? Does it make sense? For example, if somebody prefer to always sit down to do certain things, then provide a situation and environment that he can just sit down more, so that by him sitting down, he's able to do the job better. Or certain, don't force them to stand up because I think I want you to stand up. No point. You have to work with people. Does it make sense to you? Yeah? Okay, you get this part? Yeah, so this is where I talk about, because just based on this thing only, yeah, I know that root cause analysis, no point. Majority of time, if it's a complex issue, always human issues. My experience. If it's a technical issues, most of the time it's physical, but very easy. We just either to change certain things, change the screw, or change certain part, and you're gonna get it done. There's no gray area. The gray area is always about complex issue because what? Human is involved. The emotion is involved. Does it make sense to you? I keep talking about this, right? Because I just want to drill it down to you. Hey, you have to take care of people's emotion. Alright, does it make sense? Yeah? Right. Put it yes, yeah. Okay, with that, so we are coming to the time already, right? I just want to wrap it up here. Give me a moment. Just hold on for a little while. So what we want to do here is that when it comes to problems or solutions, we want to be focusing on the solution straight away, because most of the time you know it's going to be human related. You don't want to even be pointing. You want to find a way around it. Okay, so we want to be solution focused. This is what we talk about being solution focused. Be solution focused. Don't be problem focused. I would like to actually maybe you all can just share in your chat. What are some of the experience that you all have based on what I've just mentioned, right? In your own experience, right? What are some experience that you have when it comes to root cause analysis, the people's issue? Would you agree with me? I mean, what are some of the issues that you have that you can actually reinforce what I've just said? Can you put on chat for a while? Got it? Nothing? Wait. Okay, pin back to me, Angel. Okay. All right, so I'm going to, it's already 4 o'clock. I just want to finish off a little bit thing here. So now, to understand that solution focused approach or for complex issue, right, using solution focus in this case, it's actually a very, very collaborative approach. You want to be building relationship and not, otherwise you'll be expecting a resistance. Would you agree? Yeah. So if you're going to step on other people's toe or their tails, you're not going to get a lot of, you're going to cause more issues to happen. Or you say you're complicating more matter, or see, make it more complex. Right? So I know it from my own experience, how I solve problems all this while is that I want to be working with other people. A lot of collaboration involved. Getting them, even though I feel it should be done this way, but if they are not willing to do it, then I want to ask them and say, hey, how do you want to do it? Let's come together, find a common ground that we all can have a win-win situation and get it done. There's a lot of things about complex problem solving I can actually share, but in these 2 hours I can never cover so many. I hope that today you are able to pick up something very important about understanding, especially the human emotion side of it. How these complex things become very complex. Does it make sense? It's because of this. So please work on the relationship side. If you are a leader, you want to influence people, it's about relationship, right? If you want people to follow you, it's about relationship. It's about relationship to the level of trust that they are willing to actually listen to you, at least. If you don't have the relationship and you are a leader, right, it's going to be very difficult for you. Would you agree? Yeah. So hence, I want to just wrap it up in the sense that leadership and problem solving comes hand in hand. If you want to solve any problems, right, you first need to be a leader to solve, which I just mentioned. You need to be a leader in order to be responsible to solve any problem. If you're not willing to be a leader, right, no matter how you will never want to solve a problem anyway. Yeah. So with this, I think I've come to the end of this. I actually have a lot more I would like to share, but not enough time. So anything you'd like to ask me, please maybe take 5 minutes here. I would like to answer some questions with you right now. You can ask me any questions and any clarifying questions so that you can get the answer that you want right now. All right? Anyone? Any questions? Okay, I'm ready. You can ask me anything.
I have one question. I'm Saranya.
Saranya, maybe you can just on your video so I can see you.
I already on my video
Where
actually.
are you? Okay, yes. I got it. I saw you.
Okay. So like earlier, the first topic was about optimism and to be optimistic or pessimistic. But then sometimes, how do you know the difference between like, okay, you want to take on that issue, so you're optimistic, but then some people will say like you're biting too much off that you can chew. So how do you know when to be like, where's the limit, basically?
Very good question. That means, am I right? Can I say that from what I heard from you, you are optimistic, but your fellow teammates are not? Yeah.
It's actually no, like based on my own self, like I know I can do it, but then like how do I know whether I'm like doing too much, like I'm biting off more than I can chew, like I'm putting in a lot more effort than I should be putting in that situation like that,
You will know whether you know or don't know, right? Wouldn't you? Because this is from your fellow teammates who's telling you, right? But do you feel confident, able to handle this?
If I put in a lot more effort, then yes.
Yeah.
But it will be at the cost of my own sanity also lah.
But so your willingness, how much are you willing to do it? Because whenever you solve any issues, right, any challenges, is about how far you're willing to go all out or not. Correct or not? When you go out, sometimes you can see you go crazy, right? But it's about the goal that you want to go, right? That means you have a certain goal, you want to go ahead. So how fast you want to get it? So it's about going after the goal. If you truly want to solve this issue because it's so important to you, you go all the way out, right? But then again, if you don't want to go all the way out, you do half or so, you're not going to solve any issues, right? So it's about your own what I'm trying to say is that sometimes you want it to be a true optimism. That means you know it works. Have you ever had this situation where you kind of know whether you can do it or not? You know. You may not even know how you're going to do it, but you somehow know you can do this. Have you ever had this experience before?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? That's the experience. That means either that's your area of strength that you know, somehow you know how to find ways. You kind of realize that you are resourceful enough to find ways, right? Just that you don't know, you haven't started yet, but you know you can do it. But there are
Yeah.
also cases that you find that I don't think so I can do this. No matter how I just do not know. You
Yeah.
have this before, right? Yeah. So this is something that maybe you call it gut feeling. I would say this is actually your knowledge and skills and your area of strength. If you are in the area of strength, right, you just know it, man. You just know you can do it. For example, with me, if a certain area say I can do it, I can take it on. No worries. I'm confident enough. I will learn it. I'll find ways. I'll somehow learn the stuff. I'm willing to learn the stuff. But in certain things, right, even though I wanted to, but I just know that no matter how much I put it in, also, it's not going to be easy. Does it make sense to you?
So it's a matter of you knowing yourself.
Yeah, you have to know yourself, of course. Yeah. So know your own ability, know your own strengths. There's another topic altogether. Knowing your own strengths is very important. Because if you are talented in certain areas and you know that you're good, right, you can definitely outperform other people who are not as talented as you. Isn't it true? Yeah, that's why sometimes you cannot outbeat other people because they are so talented in that area. If they're so good at drawing, no matter how you learn how to draw also, right, you might not be able to draw as well as them because they are just naturally talented. Make sense? Yeah. So the optimisms will come from different things. If you're good at certain things, you become more optimistic. If you're not so good, you tend to be more pessimistic yourself as well. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say early on is that in order to solve any things or overcome any challenges that you have, you must be at least optimistic about it. If you are pessimistic, right, there's no chance you're going to overcome anything. Make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I hope I answer your questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Thank you
you.
for asking. Who else? Anyone? No, if none because of time, I can stay back a little while if you want. I just want to recap the whole thing before we go. It's already past some time. Thank you for just staying with me for a little while. So I just remember this 3 key principle. Don't fix what isn't broken. Okay? But most important is number 2. Find out what works and do more of it. If you just follow the principle number 2, right, you just go around finding out what works, take the torchlight and go and search for solution, search for things that is already working well and then try to dive into it and find out what's the root cause of this thing working. You will be, I tell you, you can solve a lot of problems, right? So with that, most important is that take charge. You need to be responsible, but take charge. Yeah, you are the own ship, you drive your own ship. If you are the captain of your team, right, then you also need to be taking charge. Learn how to influence other people because you want to solve problems on a bigger level. Sometimes you cannot do it alone. You need to influence other people to do it together with you. Does it make sense? Yeah. So with that, I think I end. It's finished for today. Thank you for the extra 10 minutes. And in order for you to get a certificate, please scan this QR code. Okay. Scan this QR code, fill up the training evaluation, and then from there, Doreen or IMU, the team here will actually send you their certificate. If you want a certificate, do you want a certificate? Yeah. So for attending these 2 hours, yeah, you're gonna get yourself a cool certificate. So scan this QR code, fill up the evaluation form, and then complete this process. They will send you the e-certificate. Yeah. Yeah.
Later on, can I mean after 1 or 2 minutes, maybe we can have a group photo.
Yeah, can.
Yep.
You all can maybe take a screenshot of this before I switch over. Have you all taken this? Everybody take your QR code scanner and just scan. And remember to fill up by today, yeah? Correct, not Doreen?
Yeah, by today.
Yeah,
So
by
after
today.
you fill up within 48 hours, I will try my best to send all the certificate to the students.
Yeah.
Uh.
Right. Okay, with that, I want to switch to the view. The gallery view. You can see everybody. It's 38 of you. Shall we take some pictures? Can you all on your video see your Lang Loi Lang Jai face? Otherwise, you put it up, it's all black screen. Just put it up, yes, please. The rest, come on. Let me see. Oh, so many ladies on.
So many pretty girls.
Yeah, no wonder. And then you should on your video. Manning, Tivia, Wei Ling. Please on. There's 2 pages here. I'm going to take 2 pages. Okay. Ready? Can you on? Okay. Ready?
Mr. Ha, you will snap, right?
Yeah, I'll snap.
Okay.
Yeah. The rest not gonna on. Come on, I give you another 20 seconds. On your video. Come on your video for a while. Just take a picture on it. Yeah. Everybody on your video, please. On your video. Junwei, Waiting, Christine, Akila, Wan Li. Okay, ready? First round. Okay, first page. One. Hey, where am I? Can't see me. One. Let me see first. Okay, got it. Okay, ready? Picture number 1. Smile. Okay, wait. Second page. Ready? Smile. Okay, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for your time. I hope you learned something today. Okay, something that actually helped you. It has helped me a lot. I hope that I was able to successfully transfer this knowledge to you, and for you to go outside and create wonders for yourself. Right? Alright, thank you so much. Please remember to scan. I better put it up again. Scan this QR code, and remember, otherwise you don't get your e-certificate. Alright, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, who is that?
So many.
Oh, you're all there, is it?